What's going on, Joe?
What's up? Looks like you got a little tan?
Dude, I'm dark, man.
You're surprised they let you back in the country, bro.
You might need to show off some of the photos for my Twitter account at some point. Chica's fearless, dude, jumping off those waterfalls.
You have fun?
Oh, I had a blast, man.
You weren't wearing no Speedo, right?
Nah, dude, can't do that, man. Would never do that. I hate European.
I'd be like, damn. On today's poll. Make sure you go and vote on today's poll. It's on the X.
That's right, baby. That's right.
It's we'll show that as we get into the show. But it's funny. Hey man, force them out. Damian Lillard, man. What a way for him to go out.
That might be the end of his career.
Yeah, man. He had the vein thrombosis. He was able to battle back, come back. First quarter, man. Goes out. Whoa, he pulled his Achilles.
Yeah.
Torn Achilles.
Achilles, even worse. He's done.
Yeah, he's getting up there in age. Angelina says, welcome back, Mike. I'm feeling irie.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't come back saying, yeah, man.
Welcome back, man.
Partake of the Jamaican South.
Welcome to another episode of the Area 210 podcast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast to you live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
There we go.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Area 210 podcast. My name's Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. We go for about an hour and a half talking sports, pop culture, and nostalgia, and I am back, baby. Maybe not better than ever, but more tan than ever. I got the summer tan already in, back from Jamaica. Chica and I were out there for 5 days. The podcast is back, and Joe, not only is it back, but rumor has it that tomorrow and Thursday and Friday I will be in studio there with you in San Antonio, just like old times, man. How you doing, Joe? How was your weekend?
Doing good. Had a good weekend, man. I got to relax a bit, with the kids and all. And we went to go see that movie that's all the buzz right now.
Yeah.
That one with Michael B. Jordan, Haley.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta say, man, I went in there and I was like, okay. I mean, it sounds like an interesting movie. Everybody was hyping it up, saying it's a different take on the horror genre. No secrets here. They know that there's vampires in the movies because you've seen it from the trailers. You've seen it all over social media. So, all right, let me go check this out. Set in the 1923, era. Man, I gotta say, dude, I came out of there and I was like, dude, this was a damn good movie. It's probably the best movie that I've seen all year, and they use powerful imagery to kind of portray at the source of everything. When you pull back the layer of it being a horror movie, at the source, it's about music, and they have a powerful message there of showing how blues, rhythm and blues had its influence way back then, and it's still relevant today, and you can hear it in today's music as well. And they show that transition, going from old all the way into the modern times. It was amazing, dude. Amazing.
That is badass. Right now, there are 2 movies out right now. First time in a long time that there have been 2 movies out that I've thought to myself, I need to go to the theaters to watch these, because there have been so many bad movies that have been coming out. But man, I'm excited for that. I'm going to go check that one out. Joe, did you partake in any Fiesta this week?
No, not this week. Next week, though, I'm going to be going to the King William Fair. Might be partaking over there in the Fiesta Carnival. I want to go and get the pineapple kind of sherbet that they have there. Nice. It's like a Dole Whip, kind of like they have it over there in Disney. It's really good, man. If you go to the carnival, you got to try it. It's kind of out of the way in the back, but it's well worth it, man. It's a little expensive, but it's really good.
Joe, I was going to go to Fiesta, but I decided to go to Jamaica instead, man. Better money spent that way.
Hey, well, you have next week, all this week. You could go to Nyosa. You could partake at a Fiesta event. You could go to Market Square because
That
that's
is
where
true.
poll is going on right now.
So if I go to Market Square, am I going to come across any Edgars out there? Obviously, I will. So Joe's being funny at Area 210 Podcast on his Twitter account, asking a poll question. What would happen if I got into a fight with an Edgar? Could I take an Edgar out? Because again, famously, I'm 1-0. I'm 1-0 in Fiesta fights. Could I take out an Edgar? So we'll get into that. You can vote on that poll. Early results in saying that 2/3 say no. I'll tell you why later on why I can. Okay. We have a lot of sports to get into. Are the Lakers, are the Houston Rockets frauds? Both teams now 3-1, down 3-1. The Lakers were favored to win that series. The Rockets were coming in as the 2 seed, now down 3-1. That game last night was crazy. Absolutely insane. Rumors all weekend long about Giannis wanting out of Milwaukee, and Vegas coming out and saying that San Antonio is one of the favorites to land him if, in fact, he does leave Milwaukee. If he forces his way out in the final year of his deal, a 1-year rental, what would it take to get Giannis? Now, there's an easy way to get him. There's a hard way to get him. The easy way is to give up a couple of players and some picks. The hard way to get him is to say, hey, we'd have to give up Stephon Castle to make that happen. I have a Twitter poll question out at MJ Acquired Taste asking that very question. Is Stephon Castle untradeable? We'll get into that. But we have to backtrack and talk about the NFL draft, which happened over the weekend as well. Shedeur Sanders waited until the 5th round. It's one of the hardest and most just weird things that's ever happened in NFL draft history. And then also we had to talk about that coach from the Atlanta Falcons whose son stole Shedeur Sanders' phone number and made a prank call. We're also going to talk about my chica because she's fearless jumping off those waterfall cliffs. We have some video of that. We'll get into that as well. But Joe, lots of topics to get into. Honestly, I like every single topic that we have here, Joe. What do you want to get into first? You know what?
I'd say let's go ahead and have reaction first for the NFL draft because that's still kind of on everybody's mind. You know, we haven't really talked about it. We haven't given our take on the aftermath that happened. Because you did have the weekend where you had the later rounds, right? And then we had Shedeur Sanders finally getting selected, Quinn Ewers finally getting selected, a slew of other Texas Longhorns, you know, and locals here getting selected in the draft. So talk about that.
Yeah, so Cam Ward of the Miami Hurricanes, formerly of the UIW Cardinals, drafted number 1 overall. I saw this take that was done on Twitter earlier by somebody from ESPN saying that he's the least talked about number 1 pick of all time. That no one cared about Cam Ward. Like you would think that the number 1 overall pick would be the headline, right? The headline is Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick. Wow, look what he did. He went from a University of Incarnate Word to a Pac-12 team to a Miami team, and he finally made his way over to the number 1 pick overall. What a pick. This is a Cam Ward, somebody who had no Power 5 scholarship offers coming out of high school. An amazing story, but no one cared because everyone was talking about Shedeur Sanders over the weekend because Shedeur Sanders, who was projected to go in most mock drafts number 2, worst case scenario number 21, right? They were saying, okay, if he's going to be taken by the Giants or he'll be taken by the Browns or maybe the Giants will take him or maybe just maybe the Saints at number 9. Worst case scenario, Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. Maybe even worst case scenario at 33, early part of the second round, you would have Cleveland. What unfolded was weird because you had that big trade between Jacksonville and Cleveland to start off the draft, right? Jacksonville going up and taking Hunter from Colorado at number 2. So that was kind of weird. So it was like, okay, well then he's not going to land there. Then the Giants passed on him, and then you see what unfolds. The Saints passed on him. They took the Banks, the offensive tackle from Texas, and then Pittsburgh doesn't take him. Then the Giants move back into the first round. We're like, oh, here it is, Jackson Dart instead. And then later on, the Saints picked up Shaw, the quarterback from Louisville, rather. And it's like he just kept sliding and sliding further down. It was like one thing for him to not be drafted on day 1. But day 2 rolls around, he's not picked in the second or third round. And it's like, how low is he going to go? He finally got drafted in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns. And it was a fall from grace that we had never seen before in sports history. We had seen Aaron Rodgers be projected at number 3 and go into the 20s. We had seen Brady Quinn back in the day fall. Lots of people making comments about whether this was racist or not, because the comments coming out, Joe, about why he was not being taken was because they said that they thought he was conceited. The Giants reportedly, unconfirmed sources, came out and say that the dude was not prepared for a meeting, that he showed up for a meeting, not prepared, had not read the playbook, had not prepared for the whole thing, and they looked at that as being unprofessional. And others will point out other quarterbacks that have been, snobby down the road, back in the day. Eli Manning famously told teams, the San Diego Chargers, I'm not going to play for the Chargers, right? He forced his way to New York, right? So we've seen players that have been about themselves, self-absorbed, right? Have family members. You had Eli Manning, who came from a family of Archie Manning and all that stuff, and Peyton Manning. And the belief that Shadur Sanders also fell because no one wanted Dion in the room. Because if you need a quarterback, chances are if you need a quarterback, you're a bad team. And if you're a bad team, that means the coach's job is on the line. And Deion Sanders, who's a legit NFL coaching candidate, can't be in the locker room. So there were a lot of things that kind of unfolded when it came to this. Joe, to be honest with you, I didn't think of it as being a racial thing at all.
It wasn't so much racially charged, Mike. You're right on that in that assumption. I think really at the end of the day, what it boiled down to is the reluctance of one Shadur Sanders to want to go ahead and follow the rules that every other player abides by. If you're going to go to the combine, usually you're going to showcase your talents out there on the field so the NFL scouts and the rest of the NFL executives that are out there can see what you're doing in the context of you being on the field itself, right? You're graded by how fast you are, what's your athleticism, what's your arm strength looking like, things that they can measure that are tangible and see how you fit in the context of their team, right? Hey, do we want to take a chance on this kid? Let's see what he can really do out there, and see if you can impress everybody. He decided not to do that. Then he went in and he did interviews. He was very arrogant, said, I don't want to be on this team and don't pick me unless you're serious. It's like, you don't want to hear that kind of stuff. It's right. He painted himself in such a bad light. And the sad part is his father, which is one of the best in the business, one of the best athletes to ever play professional sports, you should know better. Why would he take his son and say, look, man, you got to leave your ego at the door because this is a team game. It's a team sport. And there is no I in team. You win or you die together as a team. You got to take that and leave it at the door and show that you can go ahead and be a teammate, a team player. And I don't think he showed that.
I look at it this way, Joe. You have to finish the race and you have to run it all the way through to the finish line. And what Shadur Sanders did was he took his foot off the gas and he believed his own hype. Is he one of the best quarterbacks that was out there? Yeah, he actually was. But this was not a draft where you had these heralded quarterbacks that everyone knew was going to be a surefire, or at least thought there was going to be a surefire pick, right? A surefire starter, right? Last year, we had 6 of the first 12 picks taken in the draft as quarterbacks. And they all, for the most part, started. J.J. McCarthy was going to be the starter with the Minnesota Vikings before he went down with an injury. But you saw how good Jaden Daniels was. And you saw the promise of Caleb Williams and Penix and Nix and all of those guys, right? You saw the starter potential, but none of these quarterbacks were actually ranked as being, starting quarterback caliber coming out, right? Yeah. And so for Shadur Sanders to come out and say, look at my resume. Just look at my resume. Well, your resume was you were one game over 500 in the Big 12, right? And I know that it was a revamped team, and I know that Shadur Sanders went from Jackson State and took you over there and took all those players over there, and they cut everybody from Colorado, and it was influx and all that stuff. I understand that, but you were 11-10. You miss out on the Senior Bowl because you don't want to go, right? You're like, I don't want to get hurt, which I understand that.
Yeah.
If you're not going to go to the Senior Bowl, I'm okay with that. If you're not going to play your bowl game or the second half of the bowl game, I'm even okay with that. But to not go to the Combine,
Yeah.
To not go to the combine, to be so secure in who you are in the draft and not go to the combine is absolutely ridiculous, because what happens is this. People start sniffing around going, well, why is he not wanting to go out and display himself? You
Yeah.
go back and look at it. We talked about this last week, Joe. What happened? Remember, we talked about the fact that Shadir Sanders does not do what, Joe? Doesn't run the ball.
Doesn't
He
run.
has no legs. There's no wheels. And if you are not out there proving yourself, it gives everybody all the time in the world to nitpick who you are, what you can do, and nitpick your game film. And then if you have a bad interview, if you show up unprepared, if you show up with an entourage, and you have your dad being your hype man behind you, dude, it was the perfect storm to make this all happen. Super chat coming in from Sam Salinas. Thank you so much, Sam. Saying, quote, racism being the basis for Shadir's slide is total BS. Shadir is and has always been overrated. Get the F out of here with racism BS. Failed nepotism. I don't know if it's been, thank you so much for that, by the way. I don't know if it's overrated. I don't know if it's the racism aspect of it all. I just think that there's an entitlement. And I think that people did not want to have entitlement from somebody who doesn't have the talent of someone who should be entitled. Joe, Jimmy Johnson said it best in the 90s, right? Right? There's certain rules for star players, right? Why is Michael Irvin allowed to do certain things? Why was Deion Sanders allowed to do certain things? It's because they were stars, right? Star players get star treatment. Shadir Sanders does not have the talent of a star. He has a talent of a potential starter in the NFL, maybe a future star. Not saying that he won't ever be, but he's not coming out here like Arch Manning next year. He's not coming out here like Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud were heralded a couple of years ago, or Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams last year. He is ranked lower than all of them by talent level by all the scouts. So if you're going to come in entitled, unprepared, and have your dad hyping you up in the background, dude, I see why it happened, man. But it was so weird seeing all these quarterbacks taken off the board. The Saints drafted a 26-year-old rookie, man. Pissed me off. They could have gotten Jalen Milroe from Alabama, right? Who runs a 4.40. They could have had that guy. Instead, we got a 26-year-old who got knocked out by injury 3 of the last 4 years. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. But that was pretty funny, dude. I mean, it was interesting. We'll never see anything like that again. But Shadir Sanders, did you know that there has never been a star quarterback, according to ESPN, drafted in the 5th round of the draft? I mean, we've seen star quarterbacks like Dak Prescott in the 4th round rather, go off and become a star down the road. But the 5th round, no.
It also hurt his stock too, because falling to the 5th round, Shadir Sanders lost $40 million in guaranteed money by falling to the 5th round. The Sanders contract with the Browns is only worth $4.59 million.
Mm-hmm. That's brutal. He was losing money dollar after dollar after dollar. And later on in the show, I want to talk about the aspect of the father. I mean the father of the prankster, the Atlanta Falcons coach, whose son went out there and did a prank call. Let's get into that right now.
This is the thing. This is the one thing this kid doesn't understand, right? So his dad is working at home. He has his iPad open, and the dad is working there, looking at scouting reports and whatnot, because he works for the Atlanta Falcons front office, right? Probably a scout or something, looking at these reports. So then he gets up, leaves, does something. Son passes by, happens to see his dad iPad is just unlocked. Information's visible to everybody. Sees Shadir Sanders' phone number, decides to go ahead and write it down, goes to his frat brothers, and then they go ahead and prank call Shadir. It doesn't matter how you feel about Shadir. This is just despicable. Why would you want to go ahead and prank call somebody just, it's funny? No, it's not funny. It's disgusting is what it is. And not only that, but the kid doing this, he could make his dad lose his job. I'm sure the dad's got in trouble of some sort because they had to follow the paper trail.
Now, this isn't the first time there were prank calls done a couple of years ago as well, for two other players. The Jax Ulbrich was the son who made the call. Jeff Ulbrich was is the father. They made a call to Shedeur Sanders to apologize, and they did a social media apology. We talked earlier about whether or not there was racism involved when it comes to it all.
I'm going to
I'm
show.
gonna, I'm gonna give a racial comment on all this that people may not like.
Yeah, I'm going to share this because, you all help drive the show's content, right? So one of our listeners here, just like you guys here, Elias, went ahead and DM'd us right now because we're part of a little chat group, right? So he went ahead and sent this via the chat, and he's putting, I'm going to go ahead and show it on screen, and it says, breaking: multiple owners told their front office to take Shedeur Sanders off their board per Boomer Esiason. And he said he torpedoed himself, his attitude off the field at the combine. His dad didn't help him. I don't want this entitled person on my team.
And that was the word used. It was entitlement.
Yeah,
it was entitlement. But going back to Ulbrich, the coach and the son, the coach should be suspended. Should have some sort of fine of some sort because we protect our stuff, Joe. You and I have something in common. We have sensitive material that we talk about. You work. You have a computer that's sensitive material. You have what? You have government stuff.
Yeah, I can't even have doing what I do. I can't even turn my computer on and work here at home. I have to have everybody out of the room because they're not clear to be able to see and have the access to the infrastructure that I do because I'm accessing government documents, network, all that kind of stuff. And I can't even have, like they tell us, if you get up and leave, I don't care if you're at home, you better lock your screen.
Right.
Because anything can happen, and that's the same mindset that I'm sure that they've told some of these scouts. If you're at home, wherever you're at, you have your laptop, iPad, whatever, lock your screen. I mean, take it like this. This is a dad. He's in his own house. He's working hard. He's doing his thing. Maybe got up, get some coffee, went to the bathroom or something. He wouldn't suspect that something would happen in his own home.
Yeah.
But then here comes his kid being stupid and he does something like that. It's just a bad look, man. The kid's not thinking right,
And with sensitive material, my computer contains the account numbers of millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars of client money.
Yeah.
So I can't have my computer unlocked and just leave the room or whatever the case may be. But I do like the comment from Big Sean PD. And this is what I was actually kind of alluding to, saying, but they call Shedeur privileged, yet they pull that prank. That's the racism aspect of it all that I was wanting to get into. You see, Shedeur Sanders and this man, not a kid, okay? It wasn't a kid who pulled a prank. That MFer is a grown-ass adult, okay? And this is where Big Sean PD and I are probably aligned when it comes to it all. You can call that Sanders entitled, then you have to call that kid entitled too. Call him a prick, call him a punk, call him whatever you need to call him. But the fact of the matter is that the reason why so many people on social media were giving him a pass, said he was just a kid making up. It was a kid. Kid means white.
Yeah.
Means nothing else. Because if it's a 21-year-old brown kid, 21-year-old black kid, they ain't a kid, right? They're grown-ass adults. But when they're white, they're kids. Okay? Call it what it is. It was that. If you're going to call Sanders, again, if you're going to call Sanders privileged, then that little punk over there is also somebody who is a jerk. Someone also privileged as well. Okay? And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. If you're going to be arrogant towards yourself, you're doing that to yourself, man. That's you're hurting yourself, right? To hurt yourself, everyone has the right to do that, right? But that guy was trying to hurt that 21-year-old man, punk, son of that coach from the Atlanta Falcons, was trying to hurt somebody else. It wasn't a joke.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't a joke.
It was
that was not a joke. That was not a joke. That was not a prank. That was a malicious attempt to hurt somebody.
Yeah, and look at Elias also shared this via DM with us over on the X. And I'm going to show it. Thank you so much, Elias. Appreciate it, man. He's sharing a statement from the Atlanta Falcons, and they said earlier in the week, they're talking about Jack Ulbrich, the 21-year-old son of defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, unintentionally came across the draft contact phone number for Shador off an open iPad while visiting his parents' home and wrote down the number to later conduct a prank call.
He did it on purpose,
He
dude.
did it on purpose, and they
No,
relate the statement.
we're not going to go here and sit here and think to ourselves that he didn't go there with actually intent to do that, dude.
Yeah.
He did it on purpose. He didn't go, oh look, there's Shador Sanders' phone number. Maybe I should do a call. It was nothing like that. He knew that his dad had that information and he went to go get it. And that is an entitlement there that could have cost his dad his job and his career. What an epic moron.
You know what I would have done as a father? I would tell my kid, there's consequences to your actions, right? And I'm sure his father is doing pretty well for himself. Kids going to a nice college, no doubt. The dad's having to pay something, right, to have his kid go to school. I would tell my kid at this point, you know what? Get a job. It was my job to go ahead and help you, but there's consequences for this. So you know what? This semester, you got to go ahead and pay an X amount of money. Go get a job. Not my problem.
Yeah, and that coach, by the way, who was a coordinator for the Falcons, makes $1.6 million per year. And his son jeopardized that man's job.
Exactly, man.
And that man jeopardized his own job by not locking his damn computer.
I'm sure.
Do you know what should have happened to that son? That father, I thought, had every right, even though his son's 21 years old, take him off to the garage and beat the shit out of him.
I don't know if I'd take it that far, but I would definitely tell him, there's consequences to your actions, man. This is just the way life works. You jeopardize my job. You're going to school.
Yeah.
As a father, it's my job to go ahead and help you pay for said expenses. But since you've done this and you put my job in jeopardy, you're on your own. Good luck, buddy.
21-year-old in black and brown, you're a grown-ass man. 21-year-old and you're a white kid, you're a white kid, right? No, you're a grown-ass man. Own up to your consequences. You stole information. You jeopardized your dad's career, and you maliciously went after somebody. I hope somebody hits him with a car, dude.
Look at this. So Elias puts Latino parents would have disowned him. The mom would have said something,
Oh, dude. So yesterday, Chica and I were at the airport in Miami. We had our layover, and we're walking through the airport. Man, we saw this dad beat the crap out of his son, dude. Oh. Just like this, the son was acting up, 12 years old, while they're walking towards us. I'm assuming 10, 12 years old, right? And the father got pissed at his son and just punched him in the side of the arm, just said, "Shut up!" And the kid shut up so quick. And Chico's looking at me like, "Man, that needs to happen more often, man."
Jeez, man, that's old school parenting at its finest. They don't do that kind of stuff no more because now everybody's so quick to pick up the phone and report said parent. So different.
Midtown Texas says Mike would have sued his own son. You can't sue your own son on that situation because it was caused by the fact that the father did not lock his computer. The father did it to himself in a way. The negligence wise, the son did it purposefully. And we kind of, you know what? Gotta call that guy a punk, right? We gotta call him a thug, right? Just call him what it is. Speaking of punks and thugs, we have a poll out on Twitter at Area 210 Podcast asking the question, could I, Mike Jimenez, win a fight against an Edgar at Fiesta, right? So do you want to show that video of what happened at Fiesta? Did this really happen at Fiesta the other day?
Yeah.
Because remember there was that shooting a while back last year at the Tejano explosion, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But there was a fight of some sort that happened over at Market Square. And Market Square, again, we've talked about this, Joe. How do you get Edgars away from Fiesta events? Charge admission. Price them out, right? But apparently there was some sort of fight that happened, and Joe has a poll question asking,
There
Since
you
I
are.
want to know if Fiesta fights, would I be tough enough to take on an Edgar and win?
Yeah.
So far, we have 28 people who have voted this morning. 68% saying that I would lose to an Edgar in a fight. 32% saying that I could take him out. I will say this, Joe. I am not afraid of any freaking Edgars, dude. Edgars are some of the biggest pussies out there in San Antonio. They're wannabes. They're not gangbangers. Now, a gangbanger, an Exit 7 gangbanger, yeah, okay, I'll be a little bit afraid of, right? You got the gangbangers all over town? Yes, I'd be afraid of. But the regular everyday Edgar is just a punk, Joe. And usually they're 5'3". Usually they have bad haircut and bad hygiene. And they weigh about 130 pounds, dude. I weigh 230. I can annihilate them.
You know what I would tell you, Mike? It's kind of like that song from the Fabulous Thunderbirds. Are you tough enough, Mike? Are you tough enough to beat the Edgar?
Damn straight, man. Damn straight. Tony Ornella saying cartels have Edgars, bro. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be killed or beaten out of by somebody else down the road. I'm talking about that particular Edgar. I can beat the crap out of him, Joe.
And then,
Like I was saying, Mike gonna eat him. Hey, whatever it takes, right?
It's funny too, because you've heard the rumors, man. This is something that I saw on the X, and it's infamously coined by one Mike Tyson, where they
Yeah.
said he went and approached a zookeeper at some zoo and said he would pay him 10 grand if he would let him fight a gorilla. I'm like, bro, that gorilla would have torn his arms off. And then they
Right.
said 100. What would it look like if 100 men went against a gorilla and somebody put a simulation? And then Elias says Mikey Kong would win if you went up against an Edgar. And then our good friend Spernandez put 100 Edgars versus Mike. You know, there we go.
Okay. Jonathan C, man. Jonathan C, nice to hear your name again, baby. Says Mike got the size. Give me Mike by decision. Okay, so that's the thing about Edgars, dude. What's the average weight of an Edgar? And let me ask you this, Joe. Here's some variables to it all. Do they have weapons? Because we're talking about just a regular plain Jane fight, right? Not that they're going to pull out a switchblade or pull out a gun. We're talking about just no weapons. Me against the average Edgar. I'd beat the shit out of them, Joe. I'm 230 pounds. I got the size. Most Edgars are what, 5'5", 130? Come on, man.
Midtown Texas, Mike would survive the carnival, maybe not Market Square.
Well, no, Midtown. I agree with you, Midtown. But what I'm asking you on this whole thing, though, man, is we're talking about one Edgar. We're not talking about the Edgar and the four others are going to jump in, kind of like
travel in packs, bro.
Kind of like Karate Kid when Ralph Macchio got his ass handed to him, by the fence, right? Where it was Johnny Lawrence going after him, and then his four friends jump in on it. No, we're talking one-on-one, mano-a-mano, Edgar versus Jimenez. Who would win a fight? I would win that fight, Joe. Please tell me. Sam Salinas, correct. 5'4", 110, soaking wet. Sith Elias saying 120 pounds with skinny jeans. Dude, I'm sorry. I'm just bigger than the Edgars, man.
Jonathan C, average weight for an Edgar is a 12-pack of Modelo. It says Mike is not ethnic, and it doesn't matter about weight. If an Edgar has some dog in him, Mike is done.
It's like that scene in Fight Club when Brad Pitt's character says, "Man, those skinny guys, man, they fight to the death. They're wiry."
Look at Lerma, dude, coming in with the win. Remember, Mike is sneaky athletic.
JH has me saying that they're quicker than me, though. Dude, I'm sorry. Remember back in the day, may he rest in peace, George Foreman was fighting those smaller guys for heavyweight titles back in like the 90s. And those guys were faster than him, but Foreman was just bigger than him and just corner him, just get them into a corner and boom. Dude, all I gotta do is just grab an Edgar by the shirt collar or by the wife beater, and they're done, Joe. I'll weigh them by 100 pounds, Joe.
You're gonna body them up, bro.
They're bantamweight. I'm light heavyweight, dude. I mean, what the hell's going on here?
God, dude. That's crazy, dude.
That's funny, Joe.
I'm gonna pull that video that I have This is funny video that I put up there, and I found it here, so I'll put it out so y'all can see. This is what ensued at Market Square. You had the fight of the Cub.
Okay. Let's go ahead and full screen this if you can.
Okay. The Cub fight.
Oh, dude. Those 120-pound kids, dude. Oh, my God, dude. One-on-one, I would annihilate them.
Look at the cop.
One hand. Okay, you see that cop? You see how that? Okay, I'm probably the same size as that cop. Maybe a couple inches shorter than that cop. But you see how that cop just grabbed him and like lifted him up?
He just annihilated him, dude. He's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, he just pulled that kid back.
They're Jonathan C saying they're swinging like a damn piñata.
Look at him. He just pulled him off, man.
And you know what? And this is why I don't go to Fiesta for very often, man. Fiesta, half the events are just Edgared out, dude. Just hood, ghetto, whatever you want to call it, man. It just, you got to price them out, dude. How much does it cost to get in there? Nothing. So guess where they all show up to? That event, right? You want to get the Edgars out? Dude, you can make it just $10. They won't go. They won't go. They had no scratch.
Look at
okay, Joe, every time I've gone to Market Square and there's Edgars there, do you ever see them go to like the actual booths and buy food? Do you ever see them go to the booths to buy beer? No, they pregame and get their drunk asses over to Market Square. That is why you got to price their asses out, dude.
Husky power. Because you're a Holmes Husky.
That's right.
And Leia puts, I'll put up money to watch Mike and an Edgar. Someone call him and let's set it up.
Very, very nice.
Mike, the Edgars aren't fighters, bro. They're just busy getting gals pregnant, and they have no job, no home, no car.
Exactly. Because they have no food to bulk up. They have no gym memberships. They're gonna get their asses handed. Dude, Joe, you'd annihilate a freaking Edgar, Joe.
Oh yeah, dude.
You would annihilate them and have like a gordita in hand, dude. You would or a beer in hand.
Nah, I tell
one-handed.
Hold my beer real quick, man. I gotta take care of this light work real quick.
July 26th, reaching out to us saying Edgar and Toxica Hot Cheeto Girls are a dangerous combo at Fiesta. Damn straight. Let's talk about Spurs on the other side, but let's give some love to MCS General Contracting, that diamond concrete.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
CS powers the chat. Again, let's show their number, 210-774-9155 for that diamond hard concrete. I don't care if it's residential. I don't care if it's business. I don't care if it's government. Just give them a call. They do the job right. And Joe, Tex-Mex Frank has a interesting point here. Says Mike would make Edgar run by just yelling, "Look at my income. I wear Lululemon and I'm a throbber." Joe, you know that whole thing that you were talking about the how many people could take out a gorilla?
Yeah.
Right? If it was me and you at Market Square, right? Could you and I take out 3 Edgars combined?
Oh, dude, I'd have no problem taking out 3 Edgars by myself, bro. I just pick them up and just slam them on the ground, dude. I would hit them so hard the mop would fall off their head. Like, no, dude, it's not even gonna be fair. These Edgars would be done, dude. They're all bark and no bite. The only ones that can do some damage are the ones that are usually packing some heat, and those are the ones that get thrown in jail. But I mean, the kids nowadays are a bunch of punks, dude. All they do is they're quick to pull the gun, man. Nobody wants to go ahead and throw hands no more.
Right. That's exactly it, man. But it's funny. We were just talking about a straight up fight.
Yeah.
Putazos. Just why are they doing this.
You know what?
What they call Rock'em Sock'em robots?
They don't know how to fight, dude, because most of them ain't got daddies. They're raised by single moms, dude. They don't have no male
Single
figure in
moms.
their life.
They're raised by grandma, dude. Come on, man. We all know
dude.
this.
It's like, come on, dude. They're a bunch of punks, man. Bunch of punks.
Let's talk about the Spurs, man. The Spurs, we're all waiting for the NBA draft lottery, which is coming up. Spurs have
tonight at 6. Tonight at 6 p.m., they're going to go ahead and announce the NBA is going to announce the Rookie of the Year. And the consensus is among Spurs fans that it should be Stephon Castle. And I even put up a post and that said, at 6 p.m., if the NBA doesn't announce that the Rookie of the Year is going to Stephon Castle, we riot, Spurs fans. I put that up on my Twitter, or my X, should I say.
So let's talk about this because, we already know that he's going to win Rookie of the Year, right? Because there was some people who have the votes release their ballots before they're actually fully tabulated, right?
Yeah.
And about 80% of them had him as first place. So if you just take a sample size of that, extrapolate it, he's going to win, right? Not going to be unanimous. There'll probably be about 4 or 5 that won't name him as Rookie of the Year. Just be ready for that. But the question that I had on Twitter at MJ Acquire Taste was asking the question, what would it take for you to give up Stephon Castle in a trade? Or is he untradeable? Because the rumors came out this weekend that Giannis might have played his last game in Milwaukee. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's won an NBA title, who's won MVPs, is somebody who's in the final year of his deal next season. And Dame Lillard goes out with an injury. There's no direction over there. They don't have the draft capital that they need to rebuild. Giannis is just done over there. Like he's it's not a very good situation for him, right? So you have all these Vegas prognosticators coming out and saying, hey, who are the best odds of landing Giannis? And the Spurs have, according to Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs, the second best odds of landing Giannis if Giannis wanted to force his way out. Again, Giannis is still under contract, but if he wanted to force his way out, Spurs, maybe the Rockets, have the best chances of going after him.
You know what Carlos Boozer said? And they had him on, I think it was ESPN. And there's an excerpt of him talking, and he's like, if Giannis wants to win a chip, he should go and play with Luka over in LA. I'm like, How's that going to help you? You're still going to be in the same situation where Luka, while he is a prolific shooter, scorer, he doesn't play any defense. He plays zero defense. And that's one of the gaping holes in his game is if he actually played some defense, he might be able to contribute more to his team and they might actually be winning right now. But he doesn't play any defense to speak of. Giannis, if he goes to the Lakers, it's going to be more of the same that he has with the Bucks. Now, I think a landing spot for Giannis, why not come to San Antonio, pair him alongside Wemby? Giannis could be more of the guy inside the paint. Wemby would be free to roam the perimeter. He could come in and help defense there, help block shots. I think that would be a good pairing. But the problem is, Mike, if the Spurs do go and get Giannis, who are they going to get rid of? And you had a good topic of discussion there.
So Giannis signed a contract last year, right? And he's 31 years old right now, going to be 32 going into next season. So he's already on the back end of his prime. Still in his prime, but the back end of the prime. He's on hole 12 of his career. And next year he's owed $58.4 million in salary. $58.4 million. After that, he has a player option for $63 million, essentially, $62.7. And if he declines that, he becomes a free agent, or he can become an unrestricted free agent in 2029. So what would it take to get Giannis? Well, it depends on how you structure the deal, but most likely the two players that would be gone for sure would be Devin Vassell and
Sohan
Johnson.
I say Sohan too. Gone.
Well, that would be if you wanted to include him in the deal, right? You have to match salaries to some extent, right? Devin Vassell making $28 million. You have Keldon who makes about 17. That's $45 million of it all right there. You put some filler in there, maybe a Sohan or whatnot. You get to that $50 million mark, and boom, you've got it. But what happens if the Bucks say, okay, we'll take Vassell, we'll take Keldon, we want Stephon Castle, and oh, by the way, we want picks along the way. We want some first round draft picks, right? We want 8 and 14 this year. We want Atlanta swap next year. We want Atlanta's 2027 unprotected. At what point is too much? Is it too much? And is Stephon Castle untradeable? So I have that poll out there. And by the way, Joe, it's funny because I posted this last night. More than 200 votes in, Joe. And I'm getting the number here. More than 200 votes in. 74% saying Castle is off limits. Now, I get it. It'd be painful because you don't know what you're going to get with that, right? You don't know what you're going to get with Castle because Castle could be a future star, right? Castle is trending towards being a star player, and you see what players like Draymond Green had to say about him, and players like LeBron James this year had to say about Stephon Castle. They're like, man, that guy's good. That guy's legit.
And here are the results in real time of your poll that you're running. I just voted myself. I put Castle is off limits. So 73.9% of the people who have voted said that Castle is off limits. 26.1% have said Castle is tradable.
Right. Giannis is, we have a comment from Sam Salinas saying way too much for where you're saying Giannis is in his career. I think we're all around the same age, right? A lot of us, if you look, the demographics of people who watch this show are probably what, 30 to 60, right? That's probably the sweet spot. When we were growing up, Joe, 32 years old in the NBA was old, man. It was old. You mean you're 10 years into the career? It was old. 32 is not old anymore. With modern medicine, with the way these athletes take care of themselves, with the way that they diet, it's different, man. 32 now is the equivalent of what 28 was back in the 90s, or 28 was back in the early 2000s. So I wouldn't be worried too much about that. But the idea of not giving up Stephon Castle to get a Giannis who's a top 5 player in the NBA is ridiculous. I'm not saying that it wouldn't hurt. I'm not saying that he's not my son. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is Wemby and Giannis on a team together, get the F out of here.
Look at this.
A De'Aaron Fox. Dude, a lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Wemby, Harrison Barnes, and Giannis with whoever fills in the gap on the outside of that. Dude, that's a 50-win team. That's a 55-win team.
Look at Hand Over Fist brings up a good topic here. Good topic for discussion right now. Watching playoffs makes me wonder how our players would do. Then makes me think many of our guys would be, and I can't really see what he's saying there.
Would be eaten alive.
Okay, so this is the thing. When I'm looking at a series that's very physical, like the Rockets and the Warriors game, and the Warriors, right? That series, very physical. And the other flip side of that too, both teams were trading shots, just shooting threes, lights out, just knocking down threes back and forth, back and forth. And you look and see where the San Antonio Spurs are right now, and the gamut of, okay, what is it going to take for this team to get to that level? There's still a lot to be desired for this team. They have no business competing at that level right now. Right now, next season, this team is going to win enough games, in my opinion, to be in a play-in. There's no doubt in my mind, if healthy. The problem is they still don't have enough pieces to move past a play-in. They're not going to be able to go into a playoff series and win against a number 1 seed or against a number 2 seed. There's just, the talent level is just too much for them to overcome. They're just not going to be able to do that.
It takes talent to win these games, and the idea of that you're going to draft your way, like I don't think what Spurs fans understand is that, you know, it takes a combination of drafting well, developing players, and getting the free agents and trades along the way, right? You look at like Boston, right? If Boston has done well for themselves, they have Jaylen Brown, right? They have Jason Tatum. By themselves, 50-win team. But they needed other players around them that they had to trade for, established players that they had Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, Derek White. They had to fill in the gaps with from the people the stars that they drafted with good veteran players around them. Look at Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Youngest team in the NBA, right? OKC, they're going to have the MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? They obviously drafted Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? No, they didn't. SGA was drafted by the Clippers. They traded for SGA. Okay? It takes more than just doing the draft. It takes more than just that. And that's the thing about it is that it's a collection of things. You have to draft well. You have to draft the right players, and the Spurs haven't done that. We're seeing Jalen Williams from the Thunder make the All-Star team. Alperen Sengun make the All-Star team. Who do we get? We got Primo and Sohan. Who could we have had along the way? That's the thing about it all. $5 super chat coming in from Matt Lerma. What's going on, Matt? Says next season's Fox, Wemby, Giannis, Sohan flag lineup is gonna be crazy, dude. From your fingertips to God's ears, man. We get Cooper Flag. We get Dylan Harper. We get Ace Bailey. Let's do this,
It's gonna
baby.
be crazy, but it's gonna be more heartache. If we go back and look at what's happened in the Spurs past, even if given that they have a good mix of players, the playoffs will go ahead and humble you. It doesn't matter how good you think you are. There's levels to this game. And when you're getting into a playoff game or even a play-in game, the intensity level gets amped up. And what is this Spurs team shown that they can do is that they play soft. They can't amp it up. And that's their problem. They have no identity.
Well, let's talk about that because we saw this comment by Jordan Schneider. Thank you for being part of the show. Saying nobody thought SGA would be SGA until he did. He was actually second team all rookie, right? The only reason why he didn't make first team was because you had Luka Doncic who got first team. So everyone had the idea that he was going to be a very, very, very good player. Maybe not MVP caliber, but that he had potential all-star potential. But what we're seeing, Joe, is this, Joe. There's a difference between regular season basketball and playoff basketball. And you know who's experiencing this, Joe? The Houston Rockets.
Those are the ass hoes, those damn Rockets.
The Houston Rockets. And to some extent, you see what's going on with the Lakers right now. Lakers, I mean, Ant-Man is coming out pushing LeBron James. We see that video all weekend long. He's like, we're not going to be pushed around. I'm not afraid of you, old man. And then you see the Rockets. The Rockets, who are very talented, have nobody to turn to when times get rough. Last night, they lost by 3 points to Golden State. They had a chance to win at the end. Alperen Sengun missed a 15-foot turnaround jumper. Draymond Green defended it. Draymond Green, who had a technical foul, who had a flagrant foul. There were a bunch of technicals and flagrants called in the second quarter of that game. Kicks to the head. It was violent. The referees lost control of that game. But that shows you playoff intensity. And you see the Lakers blow a 16-point fourth quarter lead to the T-Wolves and are now down 3-1. You have to want it, Joe. You don't just win games. You take the game. Yep. You have to take the game. And that's the problem that you're seeing right now with teams like the play-in teams that have no ability to battle against Cleveland. Cleveland won yesterday by like 50 points.
Yeah, but if you look and see what happened with the Pistons and the Knicks right over the weekend, Pistons had a lead in the fourth quarter and late in the fourth quarter. The problem with the Pistons is that their inexperience shined through because they're still a young team. And they showed that they weren't mentally tough enough to go ahead and withstand the barrage that was coming from the Knicks, because the Knicks upped the intensity in the very end. They upped the intensity. They were the more aggressive team going to the rim, and they just wanted it more. And they came back and they took this game away from the Pistons. The Pistons, everybody thought were going to be, hey man, this is going to be a hell of a team. This is going to be a hell of a series. And it's been an interesting series to watch. But at the end of the day, one of our listeners in here had says the same thing. Experience is shining through versus
It
youth
is.
and athleticism. And the
I mean,
same thing can be said for OKC. OKC right now, to me, are the biggest frauds in the NFL, and the NBA right now. And this is the reason why. They're a young team, and they've already experienced defeat time and time again when they're in the playoffs. They haven't gone very far into the playoffs right now as far as them going to the NBA finals. They did with Kevin Durant, but they haven't gone with SGA yet. They haven't gone with this newly constructed OKC team. And I don't think they are, because again, the intensity level gets amped up every round that you go into the playoffs. First round, it's intense. Second round gets even worse. And then when you get to the Western Conference Finals, it's like anything goes. Who wants
yeah.
it? You know?
If you told me that the Clippers are going to get knocked out in the first round, I'll believe you. If you tell me the Clippers are going to go to the NBA Finals, I believe you, right? Because you got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard over there. You got the Nuggets with Nikola Jokic, who's a 3-time MVP. You have experience there. Now, the talent level, though, of Oklahoma City is far and above everybody else's, right? They are the best team in the NBA, but that only goes so far, because the Warriors are going to come in and they're battle tested. Yeah, they're old. Yeah, they're past their prime, but Steph Curry is still Steph Curry, and Draymond Green will get underneath your skin
Yeah.
time and time again.
But isn't that weird though, how at this age we're still talking Curry? He still had a 30 plus performance in the playoffs. The brother's still cooking at his age. Draymond, even though he's getting old and he has the gray beard, the brother's still getting it done on the defensive end. He's a pest. He's just annoying as hell. And he's annoying at the right moments, because you know what? They know what it takes to win. They're calm under pressure, and they know how to up their intensity. And basically, they just expose the Rockets as the frauds that they are. And you know what? I was talking all this shit in the chat, in yesterday when they were playing. I'm like, look at them. They're already starting to get blown out of the water. It's early in the first quarter. The Rockets came back and upped their intensity and made a game of it. But again, at the end of the day, it's showing that the experience is what's shining through and what propelled the Warriors to take the series lead 3-1 against the Rockets. The Rockets are on the rope. They're probably going to go fishing. They're going to go on early vacation. And the sad thing is, it's going to be an upset because you have a 3 and a 6, right? Going up
Mhm.
against one another. It is what it is. If you don't want to lose, what does it say? What's the saying goes, Mike? Play harder, right? You say, hey, if you can't afford something, make more money. If you don't want to lose and get sent home, do better.
Yeah.
We also
Uh,
have
th-
99 super
Thank
chat coming in.
Yeah, JHSB also corrected me about Paul George no longer being there. I was thinking of a different player, by the way. So I do apologize for that. James Harden, though, look at now. James Harden does look old out there. James Harden does, for the first time, look old when it comes to things. But it's an interesting team that they have over there, with Zubac and Dunn and Powell and Batum and Ben Simmons playing 7 minutes. Uh, but OKC, though, is OKC is somebody who is a team that they're going to be so rested because they entered the series in a sweep. They're going to have over a week of rest. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? That's what we need to figure out. We have a super chat coming in. What's the super chat say?
Super chat here. Let me go ahead and see. I have to go way back here again because I'm going back and forth in this chat trying to keep up with everybody. Here we go. This one's coming in from Midtown, Texas. Midtown, Texas, thank you. We appreciate the support of everybody today, giving us their super chats. It says, Mike's Fiesta experience is better than SA's inner city youth experience, meaning he's probably going to the nod to go ahead and get the victory over an Edgar.
There you go, man. There you go. Hey, that foul at the end of the Golden State Houston game. I mean, I know as exciting as that game was, right? You had that big run. That you had the battles down low in the second quarter with all the technical fouls and flagrant fouls and all that stuff. Then you had that huge 16-1 run that Golden State had in the third quarter. But in the fourth, it was getting kind of close, right? It was
back
super
and forth.
close. It was back and forth. Jimmy Butler being fouled on that 3-point attempt. That was lame. That was lame. The game was tied, man. Golden State got 3 free points out of that game, and that was essentially the deciding factor for the most part. Yes, Şengün had a chance to win the game at the end, but that was lame because you look at the Pistons when the Pistons lost to the Knicks in Game 4. The Pistons that shooter got killed, and there was no foul.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler got 3 free three. Those free throws should never have happened. That was a bad call, man. Especially at that time in the game, it was a super bad call. But the Rockets down 3 games to 1, man. They have to win 3 in a row. And you look at the Rockets roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
From Thompson to Brooks to Şengün to Van Vliet to Green to Smith. Who the hell? Who's their go-to guy? Who's their go-to guy? They have none.
They don't have a closer. That's the one thing that the Rockets are sorely missing, and it's showing right now in the playoffs. They don't have a closer. They don't have a go-to guy, kind of like the Spurs have a go-to guy, right, to close. And you would think that go-to guy to help close games is one, Keldon Johnson, because they've shown enough, right? The second one would be Fox. Fox and Johnson are your closers.
Fox is by far. We saw that. Fox has the ability to lock down. He's super clutch. So we at least have that, which is sad because we're not talking about Wemby being that guy. We're talking about De'Aaron Fox.
It is sad that you're not talking about Wemby because you know what? Wemby's too busy over in Costa Rica signing autographs for the kids playing soccer instead of going back into the gym, getting mad as how the season ended and learning how to go ahead and grow a pair and drop your nuts, let your nuts drop, and go out there and learn how to play man ball. Don't be out there playing in the perimeter.
Go lift some weights, man.
Man.
Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Kens 5. They provide that daily content when it comes to your silver and black.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Kens 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at JeffG10s5SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at JeffGSpursZone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Man, I couldn't even go on vacation without Jeff Garcia making comments about me. Apparently, I caught strays on San Antonio Sports Star yesterday, my former radio station, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Jason Minnick's making fun of my karaoke stylings, and then also bringing up the fact that I flooded the Airbnb that one time we were there for Super Bowl Radio Row in Los Angeles. So it's nice to see that they still have funny comments about me from time to time. I guess they are strays, but I do miss those guys over there, man. I don't miss doing radio necessarily, but I do miss doing this. I do miss those guys.
There's a clip. Jeff has it with the Minix and Reinagel over here. You catching strays.
A menace flooded our Los Angeles when he put the wrong soap in the dishwasher.
They said you flooded the Airbnb in Los Angeles when you put the wrong soap in the dishwasher.
The kitchen had about 4 or 5 inches of soap, like bubbles all over it. Kind of like a foam party back in college, back in the day. It was funny.
I look at that. Jonathan C. says, God forbid a man take some time off.
He doesn't.
Time off. But you know what? Take the time off, but go and work out. Work on your game. Work out and learn how to be a presence inside the paint other than just settling for perimeter jumpers. You're 7'3", 7'4". Play inside the paint. You're the biggest guy out there.
I remember all those videos of Kobe and Tim Duncan playing soccer. Oh, wait, they didn't. They didn't. It just is what it is, man.
And people say that Wemby's a generational talent. How? I haven't seen it yet. All I've seen is a big guy who's afraid to play inside the paint, defers to other people, and then at times picks his moments to shine. But they're far and few between. You're going to go ahead and propel this team to victory. Wemby, this is your team. Show me something, man.
Yeah. I sent a TikTok to Sith, to Elias a while back. It was this one guy making fun of the Spurs, and it was this like little comedian talking about like he was like impersonating every player. Like when it came to Sohan, he goes, "Do I want Green here today? Do I want purple hair today? Do I want pink hair today? Right? And he shows on the basketball court what it's like to be Wemby, and he goes, "I shoot three. I'm 7'4". I shoot three. No point. No point. No points in the paint.
No
I'd be
point.
out. I'd be out here." And it shows the person being Chris Paul, which is him again, trying to tell Wemby, "Go inside. Go inside." He goes, "No, I don't go near paint. I don't do
Yep.
paint."
You know how Jeff doesn't go outside the border of, was it 1604?
No, 410, man. 410 north.
Okay, that's Wemby with the paint. Wemby sees the paint and he's like, I ain't touching it. I ain't going in there. That's the boundary. I ain't going inside the paint.
That's funny, man. That's funny. Hey, I was taking a look at the draft grades for the NFL draft. Guess what team had one of the best draft grades out there? Your Dallas Cowboys, Joe. Your Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they weren't sexy picks, but there are a couple of them that I really, really did like, Joe. So what are your thoughts on the Cowboys not taking a wide receiver? You know, they could have taken Matthew Golden, but they took Tyler Booker, guard from Alabama in the first round.
Yeah.
They took an edge from Boston College at number 2. They got Siobhan Ravel from cornerback from East Carolina at 3. Jadon Blue, Joe, Texas Longhorns running back.
You're my boy, Blue.
You're my boy, Blue. There you go. They got him in the 5th round. Johnny Cornelius, offensive lineman from Oregon. Shamar James, linebacker from Florida. Jay Toya, defensive tackle from UCLA. Phil Mafah, who running back from Clemson, who RJ Ochoa really likes as well.
They got 2 running backs.
So now they got 2 running backs. No wide receivers, Joe, but they got 2 running backs. And in fact, gonna be honest with you, I can see Jadon Blue doing very well. I can see Mafah doing pretty well. That's a pretty interesting development that they had there. In fact, when they were ranking those who picked on days 2 and 3, the Cowboys had what was arguably considered to be 2 of the 5 biggest steals of the final day of the draft.
Yeah, and look at that, man. They gave the Cowboys a grade of an A, right? This is per courtesy of Bleacher Report.
Right.
And it goes to show, this is what they did in the draft itself. Now, I'm not opposed to the Cowboys not getting a wide receiver. I like the fact that they did the smart thing, which wasn't sexy by any means, but they went ahead and shored up the line. You need to buy Dak some time to throw the ball. I understand that aspect of it. So by them going ahead and getting, an edge, and they're getting people to go up there on the line, I'm not opposed to that. I understand that you need defense. You need to add some pieces to your defense because you had some players leave. Getting 2 running backs here, I'm not opposed to it. Again, you need running backs. They're part of your game. They're part of your offense. And the Cowboys, they have a running back, and he's all right.
Right.
He's not moving the needle. He's all right. But if you get some other running backs to come in here and help, maybe you can go ahead and now have a running game that other teams will respect. I'm not going to say that it's going to be top tier, but they're going to have to respect the run, and they're going to have to scheme for it as such. So that means that Dak might actually have somebody to throw downfield to, like CeeDee Lamb. He might be open. He might get you long yardage plays.
Maybe I'm being a homer, but I like Jadon Blue, dude. I mean, there's just something about him. He's very shifty. Had 730 yards rushing last year, 8 touchdowns, averaged 5.4 yards per carry. Just 21 years old. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. I think that he has the potential of being somebody pretty good. Now, what letter grade did they give the Houston Texans?
Let me go ahead and take a look at that. We're in a look.
Because the Texans dropped out of the first round of the draft. They traded their first round pick and picked up more draft capital along the way. They picked up, I believe, a second and a couple of thirds, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they just showed your Saints. Your Saints got a letter grade of D+.
Yeah, it was a crappy trade. There was a couple of players I liked in there, but for the most part, not a big fan. Got to scroll up for the Houston Texans.
Okay, let me go back.
It's alphabetical order.
Okay,
or you could control F Houston.
Let me go down here. Buffalo. We're going down.
Cleveland had themselves a draft, man. The Baltimore Ravens had themselves a good draft as well, as always.
What is this one? Man, we're going down, down, down. There it is, Houston Texans. Houston Texans got a letter grade of B plus.
Okay, so scroll up to see who they got.
All right.
So
So this
they
is who they
traded,
got in the draft.
they traded
Right.
out of the first round, had multiple third-round picks. They got
25th pick. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the 25th pick, but they traded back to number 34. What's interesting was that they got the two starting wide receivers for Iowa State, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. And then they go back and get teammates Jalen Smith and Woody Marks from USC. Interesting. It was a pretty decent draft right here. Then the Miami Dolphins go off and get Quinn Ewers in the 7th round.
Hey, man, somebody put, and it was funny, they said, why does Quinn Ewers' house look like a Cabela's with all the animal heads in the background? Hanging in the
That is funny.
Oh, man. But hey, Quinn kind of went where everybody projected him to go. So it was no surprise there, right? That he got finally selected near the end of the draft there. Shador was the bigger surprise that he got selected later into the draft, just kind of fell. But Ewers, I don't mind it, dude. I think he's gonna have a good career as maybe a backup. I don't know if he'll ever be a starter, but I mean, he'll get a chance to go ahead and learn over there in Miami. And maybe, somebody gets injured or something, his number might be called,
Yeah. Now, universally, the Cowboys got good reviews. And don't get me wrong, drafting is very, very, very important, but the Cowboys don't bring anybody in for the purposes of free agents worth a damn, man. And they need a wide receiver too. And it's
Maybe
a glaring
free agency.
Amari Cooper's available. I mean, that's a potential one, but you can't go out there with the wide receivers that the Cowboys have. You just can't. You got CeeDee Lamb and a bunch of scrubs.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Dak needs some targets, man. And right now he just has CD. You're trying to get him some help on the line. You're trying to go ahead and add some other pieces. And you have 2 running backs there to add to the mix. Will they pan out? Blue? There's hopes for Blue. But we'll have to wait and see as Cowboy fan to see if this really is our year. I got to remind Cowboy fan of something. Remember that this year that the Cowboys are going to be under a new head coach. With the new head coach comes a learning curve. So you might not be running out the gate to start the season. There might be some growing pains here.
Jalen Tolbert, Jonathan Mingo. Come on, man. That can't be a wide receiver too. That just can't. I don't care how good Jadon Blue does, man. Joe, if you go on my page, if you can, Joe.
Sure.
I got to tell you about Jamaica. Why people go to Port Aransas, I don't know. Chica and I did the math, and we figured out that it's pretty much the same price going to Jamaica as it is going to Port Aransas. Port Aransas back in the day used to be one of those things where it was like, a couple $100 a night for a room, things like that. Now it's like $400 or $500 a night for a room in Port Aransas, man. What the hell is going on over there? You ever tried looking at the prices for Rockport?
Oh, yeah.
For that crappy ass brown water, Gulf water?
Rockport doesn't have that crappy water. They have a decent enough clean beach in Rockport. It's a certified blue wave beach. Now, the other beaches, Port Aransas, you're talking about Corpus Christi. That's pretty nasty, the beaches and the water.
Dude, I went to Galveston about a month ago. We enjoyed the fishing, but that is just brown water. But look,
you don't want to get in that water.
Click on the photo of the water, dude. This is pure, pristine water, man. I mean, you could just look down. I did some snorkeling out there.
You went on this. What side of the net were you on?
What's that?
What side of the net were you on when you were doing snorkeling?
Not that I wasn't being captured. I was the one just looking.
No, because I'm saying like they have nets out here, right? And you always wonder what are the nets for?
They have these white like buoy type things
where
it's a rope you have to stay within. It was pretty cool. I think I had another post joke because Chica and I went and did waterfall jumping, and that was so cool. There's Chica with the red stripe.
Look at her.
Oh, we had a ton of red stripe out there. But if you scroll down a little bit more to a different post,
what is
so this was cool, dude. This was cool. We did waterfall jumping. This is in Blue Hole, which is in Ocho Rios. That is me jumping off one of the ledges over there. It probably wasn't more than 8 feet. Chica jumped probably about 12 feet off of that ledge right there, and that was probably about 10 feet off.
I
Now
think
that one was actually an actual platform. That was Chica right there. Look at the angles you take.
that looks
And
like
Joe,
fun.
they told us the water is drinkable, and you know what? I tried it. I was just swimming around drinking the water. Delicious,
people
dude.
jumping in the water, dude.
Huh?
You drank it right as people jumped in the water?
Dude, there were. It's coming off the limestone, like it's legit. You know the way God intended water to be drank. It was amazing. It was so cool, dude. It was so cool. I have video on my Facebook. I don't know if you have access to the Facebook. There's this our tour guide jumped off 25 feet into the water, man. That was amazing. It was amazing, Joe. So the price of it all, Joe. We spent about $550 a night, including taxes and all that stuff for it all.
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole trip we spent like $4,500, 5,000 around there, but that included 5 nights over there, the airfare, all our food, and all our alcohol, because it's an all-inclusive resort. So I look at it and I told her, I said, "Hey, babe, you know what we can do? We can go to Port Aransas and spend $400 a night just for the room itself with no food." And you look at that. You go to Port Aransas for 5 nights. That's $2,000, right? Then you got to buy food. Then you got to buy drinks. And then you got to buy groceries and all that stuff. It all adds up. It's almost the same price.
I meant to show the other thing from your Facebook here. Let me see if I can get it. There we are. So this is the one from Facebook. You have like 75 pictures. Is this the one? Or is it in
the
here?
one was 75. The one was 75.
75. All right. So let's take a look.
Yeah. So this is the photo shoot that's at Montego Bay Airport.
Oh, look, Bob Marley.
The hotel had all these statues out there. So there's Bob Marley statues out there. We had the infinity pool. Infinity pool, very nice. There's Chica. She beat me at ping pong 3 times.
She let you win.
Yeah. So I have videos in here somewhere in here. If we scroll through. That was the view from our room.
This one right here. Yeah, that looks nice.
The highest floor, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I'm telling you, man, it was a good time.
Good times, man. Looks like you all had a good time.
That was pretty cool. So if you want to see mine, keep going. If you want to see mine, look at our angle, dude.
Yeah,
dude, that's scary, dude. I didn't jump off that one. I was like, no, you go ahead and go along with that one. But there was one part where I fell in one of the waterfalls, and it was about to take my. Oh, look at this guy. Poor guy.
that was a tour guide.
Yeah, keep scrolling. There's one of me. I badass up. I was all fearful.
Come on, Mike. It looked like you were almost gonna slip, dude.
I'm a big boy, dude. I'm a big boy. But anyway.
That is fun, dude.
That was pretty cool, dude. It was fun, dude. Money well spent. I can't wait for my next vacation, Joe, which I'm going to check my notes here, is in 4 days. So Friday night, we're going to go visit Chica's daughter in Florida for a couple of days, then head on back. But I'll be in studio tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday doing the show. So I'm excited about that.
Mike to Chica, you're Jamaican me horny.
Drew Show says, look at that sneaky athletics in paradise, Grito.
we have a couple super chats we got to get to. $5 from the Drew Show. He says, "Oh, Wemby and Giannis, no more Nas." He goes, "How about Kobe's ghost? We clearly entered the mode. Oh boy, Chunkla, please.
That does deserve a chunklet, Joe. Because last week we're all about Nas Reed. We were all about Kevin Durant one week, then it was Nas Reed. Now it's about Giannis. Joe, let's give the man a chunkla. Thank you for the support, Drew, man. Appreciate it, man.
We also had another super chat. Here it is. This one too. Look at the sneaky athletics in paradise. Grito. He wants the grito. We'll go ahead and play the grito for you.
Por presumir a mis amigos les conté que en el amor.
Hi! What's going on?
Thanks for the support, guys. We do appreciate y'all. Oh, look, Mike went to Sandals Beach. Sandals Beach Resort, like Michael Scott.
No, this one was actually called the S Hotel. It was called the S. Sandals is nice, but the S Hotel I liked it a lot better, man. But no, it's funny. Chica and I have decided to do a little bit of traveling this year. We've done a lot already. We went to Barbados in December, and now we went to Jamaica. We'll be doing stuff in the United States the rest of the summer, and then we'll probably won't do anything for like 6 months after that.
You know what was funny? I had DJ LG right on Friday, and we're talking about because he's a world traveler. He's gone to Thailand, Japan, everywhere. DJ LG, right?
Nice.
So he was talking to me, and I was telling him, I said, "Hey, man, Mike's right now in Jamaica," and I said the funny story with Mike is that in this previous vacation that he had, he forgot to pack some draws, so he's over here trying to buy some. And I said, American sizes are different over in the other parts of the world. So they're like, yeah, man, we got you, dude. We got plus sizes. And he starts laughing. He's like, because DJ LG, he's kind of skinny, right? He's kind of thin. And he's like, bro, he's like, he's been in like Japan or something like that. And he's like, over here, he's like a medium or a small. He goes, and he goes, the extra large, bro, was kind of tight.
Dude, I'm 5X in Barbados.
That's funny how they say that, right? Oh, we got you. We have the clothes. You got to go to the specialty store, right? To get your drawers or a shirt or something. I'm just like, American sizes are big, I guess, compared to other parts of the world, you know?
Tony Ornelas coming at us saying the S Hotel, the S stands for sexy. Only when I'm there.
Oh, Lord.
Joe, can we talk about the food real fast, Joe?
Yeah, talk to me about the food.
Okay, so here's the thing. You have ailments, and maybe it's just the vacation vibe, and you're at the beach and doing a little bit of swimming and all that stuff. But I can't tell you how good the food was over there, man. Like I was telling Chica, I was like, man, this is. I think the food that we eat in the United States is probably poisoned. Like the chicken tasted fresh. The beef, which was they don't do a lot of beef over there, but the little that we had over there tasted fresh. The vegetables tasted fresher. I don't think it was because of the environment. I just think that they have natural foods, man, and no very little to any preservatives out there. Even the desserts seem to be fresh and not heavy. And I was telling Chica, I was like, I bet you if I stayed out there for 6 weeks and just swam every day and ate the food there every day, and even if it's 3 meals a day with dessert, I bet you I lose 30, 40 pounds like that. This is the first vacation I've come back from where I didn't gain any weight.
Well, the food over there is good. It's good eating, man.
Oh, the jerk chicken's amazing, man.
Yeah. They have that sauce that they are famous for as well. Like a broth, that they make, and they have like chicken and stuff in there. It's pretty good stuff, man. You got to go and get it. But if you want authentic, you got to go where the locals go. But that's dangerous, Mike.
Tony coming out saying everything tastes better when you're on vacay and have a pretty nugget. That's right, baby.
That's good that you and Chica had some fun, man.
Yeah, so we're going to Florida this weekend because we got to go visit our kids, man. Our kids are kind of all over the place, and she has a daughter that's in college right now, going to grad school in Miami. So she has a break. She has she's doing a year-long program, and there's only small breaks. There's not like a summer break that she has. So she gets like a week, and so we're gonna go there this weekend and go hang out with her for a couple of days. So looking forward to that.
God, man, even the Spurs Coyotes getting into this 100 men versus a gorilla thing. Who would win? Because there's like 100 unarmed men, right, versus a gorilla. That's what the simulation was. Spurs Coyote just put this out. Only against the Sacramento Suns mascot. God, man.
How did the Phoenix Suns get a gorilla as a mascot? I understand the coyote because Texas and all.
I said, is Mike an RFK Jr. MAGA guy? Only a G away now.
Oh man, come on, baby.
Thanks for the super chat, Drew. We appreciate it, man. But yeah, I mean, we're getting to that time now, Mike, where we're going to start. Should we start talking about the upcoming NBA draft and what are we going to do for the draft? Because that's big for San Antonio Spurs fans. I think we should kind of have a roundtable discussion after the first round of the draft to see where Spurs have selected or who they selected. And if Spurs fans are happy about that, maybe we should do a spaces or something.
Well, the draft lottery is going to be Monday, May 12th.
Yeah.
We'll find out the ping pong ball selection and all that stuff. And the Spurs currently slated to be 8-14, but weirder things have happened, Joe. 29 to 30% chance of moving into the top 4 with one of the 2 picks. That would be amazing. That would be amazing and accelerate things for the Spurs because we do need to have the talent, but we also need to have the free agents. But the talent starts from homegrown. Spurs hit with Wemby. Spurs hit with Castle. Can we hit one more time? Because I didn't believe that people were good, that free agents wanted to come and play with Wemby. I didn't think that at all. But free agents wanting to play with Wemby and Castle. Okay. Wemby, Castle, and Harper. That's what I'm saying, though, is that you got to give more than just one player because one player cannot win it by themselves. Look at what's happening right now with the Lakers. They have Luka Doncic and, a 40-year-old LeBron James not able to do much anymore, man. I mean, they're down 3-1. That's a series that they should have won. Not saying that they can't win it, but they're down, their backs against the wall. And, you see all these people coming after Luka Doncic, and now Nico Harrison's getting a lifeline out of it because he's saying, you see, he can't play defense. This is what I was talking about. And the thing is that if that was going to be the argument, then go get somebody who can play defense and who can actually stay on the court. Don't say that you were going to trade Luka Doncic because he's injury prone and can't play defense to get somebody who does play defense but is also injury prone. I never understood it.
You just got they think they're getting the lesser of two evils, but Anthony Davis is always going to be injury prone, can't stay healthy for a full season. It's going to miss at least 15, 20 games plus get to the, NBA playoffs. And you got to also contend with at times because the intensity level gets amped up. He's going to all but fade.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to go very far. You had a better chance with Luka because he had proven that he can at least get you to the NBA finals.
That's
Who's
right.
to say that wouldn't have happened again?
I know. It takes a team, dude. It takes a team. And you don't need to have excellent defense from everybody. You need to have the ability to make a stop down the stretch when needed. I mean,
you don't have to play outstanding defense for the full 48 minutes, but if you can get stops, like you said, at the end of games, gives you a chance to win. We got some breaking news here. Just saw this on by the NFL official X page there. They put that George Kittle's and the 49ers have agreed to terms on a 4-year, $76.4 million contract extension with $40 million of that being guaranteed, making him the highest NFL paid tight end.
And that's a thank you contract. He's not worth that anymore.
No.
Okay, because he's not even a top 5 wide tight end anymore. Brock Bowers is probably the best one, and you could probably name about 3 or 4 others that are better than Jonnu Smith, and all those guys are better than George Kittle is right now. But Kittle didn't show up to training, and Brock Purdy did. Brock Purdy also looking for a deal as well. Hand on fist saying NBA should bring back the
OG gorilla who can't dunk.
No, it's saying that it should bring back the mascot dunk contest. Man, I missed that. I forgot about that. That's
Yeah,
badass.
that was probably more entertaining, honestly, than the dunk contest prior to this last season. This last dunk contest that they had. The others had been pretty boring, dude. It would have been fun to see the mascots and see what they could have done, because I'm sure they would have had some props or something interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing that. They should bring it back. Be fun.
Hey, let's show me some love before we take off, man. My number on the screen, area code 210-508-0369. I do financial services, so that's investments, retirement accounts, do life insurance, disability, long-term care. Now starting auto and homeowners insurance. Give me a call, 210-508-0369. If you have an old 401k, send it to me. 403b, send it to me. If you have an old IRA, send it to me. If you want to start one up, give me a call. Let's make this happen. If you have auto or homeowners insurance and are happy with it, great. But if you're unhappy with the agent, you can always have me as the agent. So going to be representing companies like Allstate, Nationwide, Progressive, Geico, Liberty Mutual, Safeco, things like that. If you have them and don't have an agent or don't care for your agent, you can always give me a call and I could be that agent, service the accounts and things like that. 210-508-0369. Give me a call, shoot me a text. Let me know what you need. I'd be more than happy to help out. Been doing financial services now for 19 years. My 20-year anniversary is going to be in August. So excited about that. Joe, I got to get back to work. I'll be in studio tomorrow, Joe. Can't wait to show you what I got you from Jamaica.
Oh, nice. Hey, I was going to say, also make sure you bring the stuff that I left in your truck so I can have a giveaway.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay. I'll bring it, brother.
Yeah. All right, man. So that's about all the time we have for today. We'll see you boys tomorrow. Me and Mike are out. Peace.